on my wrist, baby, make a wish. You could sell your Rari, but you can't afford my outfit. Versace on my wrist, baby, make a wish. You could sell your Rari, but you can't afford my outfit. Versace on my wrist, baby, make a wish. You could sell your Rari, but you can't afford my outfit. Versace on my wrist, baby, make a wish. You could sell your Rari, but you can't afford my outfit. Make a wish.
Hello everybody, what's going on, guys? Hello. I hope everybody's doing good, doing well. I know I am. We are live again, and we have a lot of things happening this month. Some crazy news and some juicy news. But first, let's go ahead and welcome everybody to the podcast, because it has been it's been a fast month, actually. I blinked and I was like, oh, it's already time. So hello Chadley, hello Corey, hello Mama Remy, hello Ryan. Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule, as always, to join and to help me out with this lovely podcast. How are you guys doing? I hope everybody's doing good. So let's go ahead and get down to it. How is everything? What's new? What's going on over on the streaming side for all of you? And what new things are happening to your channel? So let's start with Ryan. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, I guess a new thing since last time I was on TacoCast is the whole streaming thing started for me.
That's right, I know. Welcome.
Yeah. Oh,
Welcome
man,
to the club.
I'm having a lot of fun. Didn't have to take a few weeks off because work started to get really crazy, but this week it's going to get a lot more consistent. I've been really enjoying getting into it. It's been fun. Just getting everything set up, starting to talk to everyone. It's tough to start out, but once you get into the groove of it, like you have a schedule set up, it's so much fun. It's great. Good experience. I love it. I love it so much. So fantastic over on Twitch. Makes me curious about how it would be over here on YouTube, but I don't want to make the switch just for curiosity's sake.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Chadley, what about you, buddy? How's everything been for you? What's new and exciting?
Well, I picked up the 3D All-Stars game, so I started playing Mario 64 with my daughter. So, and that's like her first experience of playing the whole game. So like we're taking turns. She gets a star, and then I get a star, and she gets a star. So we like flip-flop back and forth. So we've been enjoying playing that, and then the Among Us bug bit me, so I've been playing a lot of that lately as well, because that's just, I don't know why, but it's just a really fun game to. It's a type of game I think I've been waiting for a while, to be able to have something that I can do with a lot of the people like in our community, like our larger community. It's just a lot of fun. I don't know why. It's just I'm just having a blast with that game.
It's taken over.
Yeah.
For sure. No, that Among Us bug. I was thinking that I wasn't gonna hit, but when you invited me, I tried it. Now I'm obsessed with it too. It's bad. Corey, what about you, buddy? What have you been up to?
Much like many people, I picked up the 3D All-Stars as well, and unlike Chadley, I've not been playing through Super Mario 64 because I don't like it as much as I thought I would. I know, sure. I never really played it a whole lot as a kid or anything, so I don't have that nostalgia for it. It kind of sucks. Like the camera is kind of crap, and the moving is kind of. Anyways, so I've been playing through Sunshine and really enjoying that. I've gotten a lot more back to consistency with my streaming lately, which is good. And the Among Us bug has not bit me. I played it a couple times. I played some with like Ryan and Stephie, and I played it a couple people, and it's okay. I had fun playing it, but it's not really my thing. But I can see how people could enjoy it.
Using that good group for it. If you don't have that group,
I just don't have the desire to go back and play it. Like, that's the thing. It's not that I didn't enjoy playing it. I just don't want to play it more. I don't know.
She's Corey's out just slamming every game.
I know,
Right?
She's a
Jeez.
critic over here.
Just wait, I got more. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Otherwise,
I
I'm pretty
get where
good, though.
you're. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. 'Cause that game, you need to have the right people to enjoy it. So
For sure.
Well, it's like
I don't see myself playing with random like, and I'm not talking about like random viewers. I'm talking about like just going into the game, launching the game,
Oh,
and then
heck no.
joining some random game with a bunch of kids and stuff, and then having them just berate you with nasty messages because you're not good enough. You know, like I don't need that. So
exactly.
and I know that's what's going to happen if I do, but that's why I play the way I play. So, but yeah, I mean.
Anyone who goes into random games like that is the person to be feared.
Right.
They clearly have nothing to lose.
Ryan says as he loads up a random game right now.
I've done a few of those on stream, and it was miserable. Never
No, but
do it.
It's like
0 out of 10.
Fall Guys. A lot of people are really hyped. They love it. They play it all the time, and I can't play it all the time. I played it once. I see the hype. I understood what it was, but I mean, it's not a game that I'm gonna pick up every time and keep playing.
Same here with that one too.
Remy, how are you, hun? How's it going? What's new and exciting with you?
I've actually been on break from streaming, except for the collabs that I have like time invested into. So Cafe Coalition with like Zombies Going On and Otteron and Pegasus and them, and obviously TacoCast. And I actually announced my comeback date for October 5th.
Nice.
I decided to come back after my birthday instead of before my birthday, because I didn't want people to think I was coming back, like for my birthday, and it was just like, no, we'll just come back after my birthday. So I'm coming back after my birthday, and I have a lot of changes that I have yet to announce, and I'm going to announce. So I'll talk about those next TacoCast, but my channel is not going to be the same, like
That's
at all.
good.
It's gonna be completely different. There's a couple of like real big bombshells that are coming, and I can honestly say, like, mentally, like, I'm okay with everything, and I'm really excited to see how people react to everything. So
That's fantastic. Growth, Mama Remy.
yes.
Changes.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, I am doing good. We've been doing a couple of changes here and there. I got into the Minecraft bug for a little bit, and that was fun. And it's still fun. It's very fun. But finally, I think the burnout of Mario, the burnout of Nintendo stuff is finally past. And I started picking up new games again and started trying out games again, getting into speedruns. And then, actually, Ryan introduced me to a new game that has bitten me in the butt. And it's actually really good, especially because October's here, and I'm probably gonna be streaming it a lot. And I think Ryan will be streaming it a lot too.
I'm definitely
And
doing it.
it's like
once a-
Ghost Hunters, but on PC, and it's actually very scary. You would think it's not, and you get very like interactive with like you actually call the ghosts out, just like in the show, right? Can you hear me? Can you make a noise? But it's actually very scary because when they do make the noise, it's like half the time you're by yourself, and you get this like weird creature coming at you or noises. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the sub, not follow, the sub. Welcome to the Taco Team. Welcome to the family. So it's been really cool. Other than that, that's about it. That's all been happening. I had to put a pause on the Minecraft show. I'm still working on it. I just recently upgraded my computer, and now I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna edit the new episode because it's a very short episode. But once I get that out, I'll get back into the rhythm of starting up the show and continuing, because it's gotten very popular. People really like it and they've been enjoying it, so that makes me happy. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, it's time for the juiciness, because there's been a lot of things happening this month. So we get hit, what, September, was it September 9th? No, 12th? When did the PlayStation event happen? I can't remember. But that little
Probably
PlayStation.
the 9th. It would have been the 9th, I guess, if that was the day. That was a Wednesday,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So the showcase began at September 16th. So it was the 16th, And we got hit with some awesome stuff. They showed us gameplay. They revealed to us what we already knew because there's so many leaks and rumors, which was the prices of the console. $499 for the disc version, $399 for the digital version. The day before that, Xbox got leaked out, and in the end they had to like show off the prices and all that, which was $499 for the Xbox Series X and $299 for their full digital Series S. So PlayStation shows off all this stuff, and then they tweet out and they say, tomorrow, during the 16th, so they say, tomorrow, the 17th, we will be opening for pre-orders. But then holy shit!
Speaking of Spoopy, boo.
Saw that grin.
You're such a joke.
That grin up there.
You're such a jerk.
And this is why I never have the stream pulled out just in the chat.
Guys, everyone hashtag Corey in the chat. Oh my god.
Smirk forming on his face leading up to it.
So, oh my god. So, what was I saying?
Xbox pricing and leaks and stuff.
Yeah, so PlayStation, turns out they turn around and say that tomorrow, the 16th, they're going to open pre-orders. But then, I don't know honestly whose fault it would technically be under. People blame PlayStation. PlayStation kind of blames themselves too. But Walmart turned around and opened pre-orders that same day on the 16th. And then Best Buy followed suit. And next thing you know, like, everybody followed everybody. And we got hit with pre-orders. I was lucky enough to be able to catch my pre-order, jump on it. Yes. Corey was able to, and Ryan, you were able to too, right?
Stephie
So
was too.
we were able to jump on those pre-orders, but a lot of people didn't get them. They were saturated, and websites were crashing left, right, and center. Xbox comes out and says, we're not going to do that. We're going to prepare you guys. 22nd of September, we are opening pre-orders. And they do that, and again, everything is saturated. Websites are crashing. People are waiting in line. Turns out that when we got to the actual place, they only had 7 to 8 Series X's, and some places that didn't even have S's. Some places only had 1 S. So people were really upset about that because it wasn't the numbers that Xbox promised either. So it's been a big mess. To make matters worse, some people were very confused with Xbox's name because we're dealing with Xbox Series X, and then we have the Xbox One X. And Amazon went off the charts with sales on the Xbox One X, not the Series X. So some people for Christmas are not going to be happy when they get the Xbox delivered to their door, or possibly getting it delivered the next day because, you know, it's like next day shipping sometimes, right? So, after all that craziness, now eBay scalpers are going crazy, selling receipts for pre-orders at $2,000, $3,000, $1,000. We know this happens. It always happens. So what are your thoughts on the craziness that happened around this whole thing? And do you think this could have been avoided, or there was no way they could have avoided this? So let's go ahead and start with Ryan.
I mean, it could have been avoided. Walmart kind of jumped the gun a bit. I guess they really wanted it. They wanted to be on the forefront of it. I don't blame them. But, as always, greedy people wanting all the money. Scalpers, once again. We always talk about scalpers when I'm on here, I'm noticing. But, always scalpers for me. But,
if I remember correctly from last stream, Rigo was going to do that as himself.
Oh. Unfortunately,
I may or may have not.
May have, oh boy. Yeah, unfortunately though, again, greedy people, scalpers are kind of an unavoidable thing. They're not even a necessary evil, they're a horrible thing.
Yeah.
And we unfortunately got to deal with it. Great, I'm glad that so many of our people got their pre-orders in for the PS5 when they wanted it. So glad I got lucky.
So many of our Nintendo community got our
So much
PS5
our
pre-orders.
Nintendo community.
Right.
Our strong and brave Nintendo community over here with all their PS5s. But as far as Xbox goes, they massively have shot themselves in the foot. Massively. By naming them so similarly.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. There's gonna be people who are like, oh, I'm getting them mixed up in my head as we speak. But it's gonna get messed up. Of course. I guarantee you, there are, of course, the parents and grandparents out there who are like, Xbox. Yep, that's the right one, just because it says Xbox.
With an
It's
X,
not.
an extra X.
With an extra
extra
X.
Xbox One X. I mean, that's might as well be Xbox Series X.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate. It is a reality, though. Hopefully everyone's able to get what they're looking for, though, and not having to pay $2,000 to a scalper for it.
Yeah. Mhm,
Overall, I'm happy with PlayStation. Could it have been handled better? Absolutely. But at the same time, I know they kind of blame themselves. I really don't blame them. They didn't rein in Walmart the way they really should have.
Yeah, for sure.
I blame Walmart.
For sure. Corey, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Where to start? There's a lot to cover. There's a lot of thoughts here. Okay, so for one thing, could it have been avoided? Yes and no. So for one thing, anybody who's worked at any retail location can tell you that, like, there are things in place on the registers that will not allow you to make a sale on a particular SKU before the date. Like, Walmart's a good example and a bad example of this, but for one, dang it, Rio. For one thing, like, in a lot of cases, Walmart ends up selling products early. But a lot of times when you see items put on the shelf early and you try to buy them, the register stops it. It will not allow it.
Mhm.
And the same is, I'm sure, in place potentially online if they really wanted it to, right? So I think technically, I don't think like they did anything wrong exactly, because I think if they were not allowed to, they would not have been able to make the pre-orders available.
Yeah.
I don't really blame Sony either, because Sony was trying to plan things. I don't know who to blame on this really necessarily, but I don't think it's necessarily like that, Walmart is like the problem here or anything, because I think that they opened up pre-orders and the system allowed them to be sold. So that's somewhere, there is a gap somewhere. But anyways, could this have been avoided? Potentially, if the system had been set up right, sure, or whatever. But then when you talk about the whole scalper situation, the scalper situation is never going to be avoided. It's maybe it's a little bit more prominent right now because everyone's trying to get their hands on them, because we were just talking about this, with the pandemic and everybody like not really going out as often and things like that. Everybody's got a little extra cash. People are home that want, and want to have something new to do, and they're excited. And then so the scalpers are taking total advantage of that, knowing that. But scalpers have been doing this for years and years and years, right? This is not a new practice. It's just a much more prominent one right now that it's much more publicly noticed right now. So that's not going to be avoided. And then this whole thing with them making their name of the Xbox One XXX or whatever. I just don't know who. Somebody really missed the mark with marketing here. Like, they must not have done any marketing tests, because anybody would have told them when they got to the Series S, when the Series S came out, that's where it all went wrong, because that was already too close to not Series S, I'm sorry, the 1S was already too close to the 1X. Like, it was already confusing people 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever that happened. It still continues to confuse people, plus the continued incredibly similar names for their next generation. Now, Sony may not be creative with PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but people know there's a difference. People know there's a difference between the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 5. There are people who have no clue that there's a difference between the 1X and the Series X. Like, and you can't blame them because it's right there. It's in the name. It's almost the same.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, yeah, there's a whole bunch to that, and I just think it's somebody missed the mark. They should have absolutely called after the 360 came out. It should have been the Xbox 720.
I think that caused a lot of confusion at the time. I know it's like an eternity.
That would have
ago,
been just as bad, though, to be honest.
But when they came out with Xbox One, at that time,
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Well, that's ridiculous. We have the original Xbox. Well,
One
we'll
is smaller
rebrand
than
it."
360.
But yeah, it's like they've never been good with their naming conventions, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Chadley, what do you think, buddy? I was gonna call him Corey.
I mean, the pricing is good. I mean, it's right around where people wanted it to be. I think for both the Xbox and the PlayStation 5. I obviously don't have the money, or at the moment, I don't really have a desire to get either of those systems. Mainly because other than the first-party titles, anything that comes on those systems, I'm going to be able to play anyway on my PC. So that is one reason why, unless there's a game that comes out, I feel like I really have to play it. I'm not in any hurry to get these systems, either of the systems, or the Xbox One X for that matter either. So, because I know I can buy one of those right now. But
I don't know. You might not be able to anymore.
That's true. That's true. As far as how they handled everything, I mean, didn't the Switch have a similar thing where it first came out? Like everybody was rushing around, and it was like it was sold out in like less than a couple days. That kind of thing. Like it was hard to find it physically.
It's still different than minutes.
I know that, but I'm saying like even with the pre-orders, like they did pre-orders on the Switch, and if you didn't get it on day one of that announcement, you weren't getting a pre-order either. But yeah, I think it's just a whole mess. Let's just hope that they're able to produce the numbers of systems that are already pre-ordered, and hopefully they're not going to be like, okay, you're only going to be able to fulfill half of your pre-orders this week, and then 2 weeks later is the next half of your pre-orders. Like that would just even make the matters even worse. I don't want to blame it on COVID, but that could have something to do with it, with the fact that I would think they would be telling these stores accurate numbers as far as pre-orders. And obviously if they were expecting higher numbers, maybe the fact that they weren't able to project, I guess, the amount of numbers they would need by the release date. So they had to lower their numbers, even though they've already made the mistake of saying, we can provide you with this many, but then probably ran some calculations and realized, well, we can't really give you that right now. Sorry, So I don't want to blame COVID, but I'm sure it has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Especially with everything getting pushed back from all aspects of this business, So, and that's probably why they waited so long to give us the announcements, because we probably would have heard about all these things way back a few months ago during some of the game conventions that were going to be happening around that time, like E3 and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just a whole mess. I mean, yes, it was a hot mess. So
For sure.
I had to sneak that in. So.
Let's also remember that PlayStation did do like 2 days ago or yesterday a second round of PlayStations for this reason. So I know that much. They did do a nice, here you go.
Yeah.
We'll do another round. And a lot of people
Yeah,
were
people
able.
were saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, people were saying that that second wave of pre-orders. So to go exactly with what was just being said, is that second wave of pre-orders, a lot of people are saying that those are not coming on launch day. Those are coming like a week later.
Okay.
So those are if that's true, those are legitimate second wave of pre-orders that they were pumping out more consoles, and we're like, okay, we actually, have some more that we can let you pre-order. So that goes hand in hand with what Chadley was speculating, right? Is that there might actually have been a shortage of consoles compared to what they really expected they could make. And then later they're like, okay, we got some more. Here you go. Pre-order some more.
Yeah. Hey, well.
Oh, and then, as far as the naming convention and stuff, Stephie made a point, and I forgot to mention this too, and she made the exact same point I was thinking, like, they didn't learn from what Nintendo's mistake was, like the Wii and then the Wii U and everyone, how they were so confused about the similar naming of it, and didn't even sound like it was a sequel, like to the the new predecessor or whatever.
Yep.
And yeah, like the names are too close, too similar for just the common consumer to be smart enough to say, oh, this is the new one. Because like Ryan said, you have Xbox, and then you have an Xbox 360, and then you have an Xbox One. Now you have this Xbox Series, which makes it sound like it's a group of systems to begin with, because a series means like multiple things, and they have two, which I guess is the series, but that's the same thing with the Xbox One. So it's like, unless they plan on using the series branding name in the future too, for when the next Series XX comes out. So.
And then the next series.
The XXX.
The triple X. There you go.
The triple X.
That one will have Vin Diesel on it now.
What about you, Mama Remy? What are your thoughts on this craziness?
Can I petition these console, naming, schemes that they have to be like the Xbox, like Black, or like the Xbox, like Legacy, or just like some type of like really nice, but like we're gonna go with this theme and then this theme and this theme, and not like these little things that are like, they're just, if it can't fit in this tiny little box, we're not going to use it. It has to fit in this tiny little box. And then at least with the pre-orders, I kind of feel like Chadley was like on a point with like the human malware crap. Everything was shut down for a while. No one was allowed to work. We were all like working from home. Some of us still work from home. So things weren't being made. And then I actually have family in healthcare, and they've actually told me to start stocking up on, non-perishables again, because, here in the fall, we're supposed to be getting, another round, or, whatever round that we're on. It's supposed to get, really bad because all these kids are back at school, colleges are open back up, businesses are open up. So there's going to be like another wave. So I feel like with the pandemic on top of it, and all these factories getting shut down, they didn't have a lot to begin with, and they wanted to hurry up and launch it before like Black Friday and Christmas came around, because that's when they're going to make all their monies. Otherwise, they're going to have to wait for at least another year. Then they're going to be behind, because everyone's keeping up with the Joneses, and they're going to lose out on money. And then on top of it, since they weren't being made because of the factories and the stuff being shut down, and then with this rumor going around that we're going to be hit again, could possibly be shut down, and possibly be stuck at home, have the stay at home orders and stuff like that. And we were talking about this before, I forget who said it, I think it was Corey. They get so many in, and then the employees start taking, they get like 14 in, and then there's only one available because, one employee reserve this for their brother or their cousin, whatever, because they want to make sure that they get it, because if it does like happen to shut back down, they're guaranteed to get it. So the consumer base that actually comes in doesn't have a lot to pick from, whereas the employees, they know exactly how many there is, and they're scalping them up. And then on top of scalpers, it's no different than, the graphics cards when the Bitcoin, mining started, and everyone needed the graphics cards to be able to handle the load to do Bitcoin mining. And it was no different than during the pandemic when everyone needed, laptop parts or computer parts, webcams, mics, all those, like the camera that I have, which is the Logitech C920. You can't even get it was like $40-50. Now it's minimum $150, if not close to 200. You know, and you can't find that nowadays because everyone needs it. So the people that are buying these up for cheap are selling it. And if you think about it, back in like the 60s, 70s, when the concerts were like running amok and everyone's like peace, love, and music, you know, scalpers would buy, you know, these tickets, you know, for these concerts, and they'd stand outside and hike the price up because somebody would obviously forget their tickets, or you know, they, you know, had to sell their tickets, or they didn't want to, or they couldn't get in. You know, they always know scalpers are going to be there. So sometimes scalpers can be a blessing and a curse, but right now, because of the pandemic we're in, it's a curse.
Yep.
So
I know, and that's the thing, right? Like, I was talking to one of my buddies from EB Games, which is our GameStop, and he was saying that some of the employees, they were, you know, they weren't even open yet, and they were already, okay, we have, I don't know, 15, let's say seven pre-orders. I need 3 though. Even though the rule is 1 per household, but they were letting the employees get 3 for their household. It's like, that's not fair. That doesn't make sense. You know, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Again, speaking about the craziness, so Nvidia, most of you don't know what Nvidia is. Nvidia is a company that deals with graphics cards for PCs, and they did this huge announcement about their 300 series. That's their new video cards. People got excited. Release date September 17th, and it came, and it was utter chaos. Some retailers didn't even get as many as they were supposed to get. Some of them were just pre-orders only, and other websites and online were crashing left, right, and center. Even Nvidia themselves were crashing. So Nvidia came out and apologized for such a big mess because they were supposed to have enough to go around, and they didn't. Not only that, they are doing an investigation apparently to figure out how many were bots, and those that have been ordered that are bots are being actually stopped and shipped back. I don't know how they're figuring that out, but apparently they said they have a way of doing it. So yeah, they had a big mess too, and it looks like this whole thing, this whole release is just going really bad for September. So they're fighting the bots, and you think there's a way retailers can actually fight that? Do you think there's a way to get around that with the bots and all that? So again, going down almost the same question. So Ryan, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, first I gotta say, good on you, Nvidia. Like, you guys are the ones I'm gonna turn to when the Terminators rise up, because you guys clearly know what you're doing when it comes to fighting robots. You guys are just, that was good. I don't know how they're doing it either, but that's excellent that they are going through and canceling out those bots. That is good.
Yeah.
For basically everyone. Like we said, scalpers are kind of, right now they're hurting everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great that they finally have someone is doing something about it. Wish PlayStation would. I know we have a lot of people still interested in getting a PS5 that can't. I don't know how much of a bot problem they have. I'm assuming they have one though. Nvidia's having one. But,
most likely, yeah.
Oh yeah. But like I said, good on them.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And we were all, people were going on about how PS5 and Xbox, it's like, oh, but they're going to be so much stronger than your PC. They're going to be so much stronger than PCs for a while. Yeah, PCs will be, you know, really good too, but these are going to be just so much stronger. And this was going to be the thing that helped PCs really stay ahead of them. Like, cement that whole argument for PCs. And this kind of just hurt that. Which,
yeah.
It's a shame. PC Master Race.
It's true though.
It's true. No, any day of the week, PCs are gonna be better than consoles. Sorry, everyone. But consoles always have their benefits too. Not everyone knows how to build an awesome gaming PC that's better than a console.
Yep.
And a lot of consoles have games that you just can't get on a PC.
Nope, for sure, for sure.
So, obviously,
Corey,
arguing.
no, for sure. Corey, what are your thoughts on the GPU craziness?
Well, this is, I have to say, like, it's always been really hard to get the, like, Founders Edition Titans and this and that, but never quite like this, as far as I recall. I think it goes back to what we were just saying about scalpers with the consoles, right? You know, is that people have a little bit more free time and everything, and they're wanting to get their stuff, you know, the things they want, and there's already a shortage, you know, of parts as it is, and they want this ridiculously overpriced graphics card, the 3090 and 3080. They want these ridiculously stupid expensive cards, and they get their bots, and they have them buy.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, let's be real, Nvidia's talking big. Nvidia sold all those graphics cards. Nvidia probably wants to be loyal to their customer base, but Nvidia sold all those graphics cards. They're getting that money. If they turn down all those orders, they're going to risk potentially not selling all those orders. I mean, it is a legit risk that they may not sell all those graphics cards, that they're going to cancel the orders on if they do that. Whether that stops them or not, I don't know. But I'm just saying it is a legit risk. Let's say they had to cancel, you know, 10,000 graphics card orders. There's no guarantee that they're going to sell those 10,000 graphics cards in this quarter or whatever they need to hit their numbers.
Yeah.
Nvidia is a business like any of these other businesses we talk about, and they want that money. So I'm not going to be cynical and say like, oh, they're not going to go through and stop these orders. But what I'm going to say is that they're probably not going to put as much effort into it as the game they're talking, as the big game they're talking, you know? Now, can they track the bots and stuff? To a degree, they can check. There are ways to assume which orders were made by humans and which were not. There are definitely analytics things you can look at. One of those things would be like how long it took a user to process an order. You know, they can look and see if somebody clicked a page and then it took them half a second to go through from entering their credit card onto the next page, and then on the next page it took them another half second to enter their billing address. Potentially you could assume that was a bot, but on the other side of the coin, right, is that we now have, I mean, things like Google Chrome. I can literally click in the box for my name, and it will have a drop down of my credit card information if I allowed it to save in my browser, and click OK, and then enter the CVV for my credit card, and then it will autofill everything for me. Yeah. Literally all of the billing information, everything. So it's not as cut and dry, but it's definitely like they could definitely have some educated guesses on the orders that might be bots, and you know, and that's, again, that's one aspect. I don't know all the different things, but as somebody who recently did a lot of analytics stuff for work, there's definitely a lot of analytics that they can look at that are literally just reporting on pages they hit and like how long they were on the page and things like that. That could give them a bit of a hint to make an educated guess. Will they go through all that effort? I don't know. I'm gonna be a little bit cynical. Anyway, that's really all I got on that.
Chadley, what about you, buddy?
Do we know like what websites got hit with the bots? Because
all of them basically. I mean, I think that's the idea, okay, right?
Well, yeah. So that's half the problem, because it's not really Nvidia's fault,
right?
Per se, because also websites have to take measures to prevent this as well. So like me going to Newegg and using a bot on Newegg, well, technically that's Newegg's responsibility to make sure that the orders are valid and not being blasted with bots. Same way with any computer hardware website. So we can't really blame Nvidia for this, because I'm sure, again, like Sony and Xbox, they probably told Newegg, you can safely assume that you can fulfill this many pre-orders or whatever, and went to all the websites and told them this. And of course, if the bots eat up all the pre-orders, then that's what happens, you know. But again, like Corey said, there are measures that they can take. There's a thing called reCAPTCHA, which is something that's done by Google. That's the annoying thing where you have to pick the squares for the sidewalk or for the
all the pictures that have a motorcycle on them.
Exactly. So there's things like that. it's very hard to cheat that with a bot. It can be done, but will a lot of people try to go through the hassle of going around that? Probably not. So again, it's like websites like Newegg and stuff, they don't implement that usually on their orders, and
just on the login or something, you know.
Yeah, usually it's just on login or whatever. And if you and there's ways for people to just sniff that information. So they can log in manually on the website and have a program that sniffs out all the data that comes back. And then as long as they're sending the required data that they need to the website with their bot, the website's not going to be able to tell the difference. So that's the problem that websites can run into sometimes with this. And so I don't know if there's a way to fix it. There's people that are a lot smarter than me that probably have already started working on a solution for this so that they don't have this type of problem in the future. But yeah, if they're blaming NVIDIA, it's really not their fault. I mean, unless they're selling them directly on their website and that's where the bots were hitting, then I could see, yes, it's NVIDIA's fault. Or it's whatever website they decided to go with to help sell and push that stuff. But for me, like, again, like, I'd like to have one of those cards. I think it's funny how the price of those cards are considerably lower than the 2000 series cards were. So, I mean, they're still expensive. They're still
depends
expensive.
On the card, because there's still that $1,500 or what, $1,700 3090, right?
Yeah.
Like,
okay, yeah. But like
with the rest of them, I agree.
Yeah, like the 3070 compared to the 2070.
Yeah.
And the 3080, well, even comparing the 3080 and the 2080 Ti or whatever, the 2080 Ti is probably the same as the 3090. So, like, yeah. Anyway, it's just when they first announced the pricing and stuff, it just seemed kind of off. And again, obviously, they wanted to keep the prices low to entice people to buying that card instead of buying the systems. So.
Yeah,
because they would basically say, buy this card. If you already have a good computer, all you need to do is buy this card, and now your computer is still better than the new consoles coming out. So
right.
Exactly. Mama Remy, what are your thoughts on the video card situation?
Apparently, when you said that we were going to talk about this, I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? I never heard anything like that. Of course, I always like go running to Blur, and because he's like bestie PC, technician. It's like, hey, come fix my stuff and I'll cook you food. It's like he knows about all this stuff. And I asked him about it, and apparently he said that the first batch of the RTX 3080s apparently had some type of bad capacitor layouts, and it was causing a bunch of stuff to like crash. But apparently, since all the bots and scalpers got to this first batch of cards, they're the ones having to process like all the refunds and send the card back, and try to, so it's kind of like a justifiable haha karma deal.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I would take that like
good on them for taking the bad. I told you it was like scalpers and stuff, because sometimes be a blessing and the curse, and in this version they're a blessing because they took all the bad ones.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree 100%. I feel some people were saying that they feel that NVIDIA was rushing them out too fast, hence why they were having issues. And I kind of agree with this, because let's release the card before the console comes out. Let's make our money. Let's show that our cards, and don't get me wrong, the cards are great. Like, I'm seeing reviews that they are pulling 4K with no problems. All the stops, and
I hope I can get one of those at least.
Right? And like the 3090s, they're telling like it's legitimately doing 8K at like 40 frames a second, 30 frames a second. That's
Dude,
impressive.
I saw a video, I think it was Linus Tech Tips, of him using the like the 3090s, dude. Those things. Although I was gonna make a comment about the whole scalper situation, I forgot about this. So I was watching. There's been several videos of all these YouTubers, getting these 3080s and 3090s out for review, and I'm like, you really want to blame it on the scalpers when all these dang YouTubers got them sent directly to them from NVIDIA? That's kind of BS. Because
what type of cookie should we send to NVIDIA so we can get a card too?
Seriously. Snickerdoodle.
Right?
Tell you right now, it should be those
Chunky chocolate
peanut butter
chip?
brownie.
Peanut
All
butter
of them.
Right? All
The one
exactly.
that was showing off earlier. This one's delicious.
Oh my god, I know it's crazy. But okay, some crazy news has happened this month, and
What? Crazy news?
I know a lot of people weren't expecting this. I
Even
kind of
more?
wasn't either. So apparently, okay, Nintendo had their their meeting that they always do, where they're explaining what their plans are for the future. And during this meeting, they mentioned that they are going to be working on keeping the Switch alive, and they are working on a more powerful Switch with better upgraded CPU and memory, and they are hoping that this will prolong the life of the Switch, surpassing current Switch. And they said Nvidia came out as well and said they're working on their console with their new Tegra chip, and they're going to be supporting 4K with DLSS. Basically, it's just for those who don't know, it's just a simple thing where a program basically learns how 4K works and shoots it out without actually being 4K. And it works actually really well. They use it for their tablets, and it works like stupidly well. So now that Nintendo said this, Nvidia said this, people are saying no doubt in their heads now, Switch Pro is to be coming out. Probably not until 2021, 2022, but it is going to be coming out. Not to mention, devs did come out and said, Nintendo messaged them and said, hey, get your games ready for scaling at 4K. And Nintendo did say they want to compete and be able to keep going with the new games that are coming out for the PS5 and Xbox and all that stuff. So it makes sense they would want to make a Switch Pro. Excuse me. Do you think this is a good move on Nintendo's part, or would you be grabbing one if this is the case about the Switch Pro? So let's start with Ryan.
I was gonna say, first off, I agree with Inuyugi. I doubt it's gonna be called the Switch Pro. Then Corey went around and stole exactly what I was gonna say with the Switch U. But I think it would be a really cool thing. What I would really like it to do and be, though, the Switch Extreme, but to basically just be the opposite of the Switch Lite. Whereas the Switch Lite is a Switch console that's specifically made for being a handheld. Do the opposite. Make one that is entirely designed to be a console. I think that's honestly also the only way it's really gonna work. And that would be really nice to have this, like, the three different forms of it. You'd have the handheld version with the Switch Lite. You'd have the Switch U, which is what we'll call it for now. The Switch U for just simply acting as a console and being the strongest version. Or you'll have the regular Switch, which just can do it both. It won't be as strong, and it won't be as great a handheld, but it'll be that nice middle ground.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic. Switch Sword, Switch Shield. Oh my
Because
god.
NVIDIA Shield tablet.
Let's ready for that next bit of the expansion too. Oh my gosh. They were going out there swinging, announcing all these cool games with their little third-party developers. Like
Yep.
Monster Hunter, 2 of them. So yeah.
Yep. Right?
For that. Get on that boat, everyone.
Corey, what are your thoughts?
So I think it's a possibility. If we go back to several TacoCasts back, when we, every time we talk about this Switch Pro idea, next year would be about, this year and next year, would have been about where I said I could see a pro version, maybe not called pro, but like a pro-esque version of a Switch happening, one that doesn't fragment the actual console line, right? But one that would switch on, but one that would improve the experience. I still don't see, like, personally, I don't expect a like TV only version of the Switch, because that's still, I know you could still kind of use this argument against the Switch Lite, but I don't see it happening as a console, like a, specifically a console TV only version, because it kind of defeats the purpose. But so does the Switch Lite ultimately. but I just don't know. Like, I feel like they might be wanting to keep it where it is, kind of, a middle ground. You start making too many different ones. Like, even the 3DS had like only two different versions that mattered, right? Like, because of course you had like the 2DS and everything, but like all that did was take out the gimmick of 3D.
Yeah.
But like the new 3DS had an improved processor and stuff that people could take advantage of, but nobody really did. And I would hate to see the Switch Nintendo come out with a Switch that is an enhanced version that people don't want to take advantage of. And so I almost think that it would be more like productive of them to make it its own console, like its own system, right? Like rather than make it an enhanced Switch, make it whatever Switch 2 or whatever,
Switch 2 type
make
thing,
it, yeah, but make it something different. That way you don't. I know the Switch is pretty young still, so I don't think like this would be a great idea. But I feel like it would almost be better than fragmenting the line. Switcher 3, oh my gosh, Breath of the Wild, that's great. Anyways, just my thoughts on it. Like, but I could see them coming out with something that is pro around this time. Like, I feel like it's a good time with the generation timing these days for the consoles. And yes, we saw that they were talking about 4K and asking their developers to be ready. I think with the DLSS, they actually have to do very little in the way of 4K. They don't have to put out a whole bunch of 4K assets. They could put out like solid 1080p assets, and thanks to DLSS, it gets a lot of the pixels for them, and it works. Like Rigo said, it works really good. I have seen a lot of video of like with the new graphics cards doing DLSS upscaling to 4K and into 8K and everything, and like it looks good. Now that's all on super powerful hardware on a PC, but you could still do it to a much lesser degree, on the Switch or something, and I think it would look really good still. So, we'll see.
Chadley, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, it's definitely inevitable. This isn't going to be the last system that Nintendo produces. So, it's just a matter of when. That's the thing. And we've heard rumors and all that kind of stuff about them wanting to enhance the Switch, because originally, like, I've seen the rumors of like the Switch Pro stuff, and then there was like insider information saying that Nintendo wasn't really going to change the name. They were just going to be making these small enhancements to like increase or to change out the screen, change out the processor, change out update the Joy-Cons so that they had better gyro, stuff like that. And I'm like, well, when I'm going through this list of stuff, I'm like, that's basically a new console anyway. Like, because if you're throwing in a new processor, that's like the next generation almost of the console type of thing. It's not just like, oh, we're just gonna slap a new type of battery in the thing so that you have better battery life. Like, not like what they just recently did with the Switch, where they made a couple enhancements to it, but it wasn't enough to consider it a whole new model, But if they're talking about
Switch Pro already exists, guys.
Yes, that's right. Because you get longer battery life with it, so that's all you needed. So,
it's true.
But I mean, yeah, it's inevitable when it's going to happen. Nintendo's been kind of like sparse with their information about everything lately, anyway. They've been just very secretive about stuff. I mean, look at Breath of the Wild. I mean, that was back in 2019 or 2018 that they made the announcement. I can't remember. It's been over a year since they made the announcement of Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard anything about it since then. And again, blame COVID, whatever you want to blame, because I'm sure they would have announced it by now if we didn't have it. But so like, they're just being very secretive about it. They don't want to tell us too much. I don't know why, unless they're still trying to figure out what exactly they want to do. I feel like whatever they decide to come out with is going to be another handheld Switch model. Like, they're not gonna reinvent the wheel again. That's making too much money for them, and it doesn't make sense for them to like come out with a standalone console. Like I think they have moved on beyond just having a set-top box that just sits at your TV.
Yeah.
They don't want to be known for that anymore. And they've always gone to a different beat of the drum. So I don't know. I guess my takeaway is it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So
No, for sure. No, and I agree 100% with you about that one. Mama Remy, what are your thoughts?
I told you last TacoCast that since Nintendo's partnering up with, NVIDIA, and NVIDIA Shield had the touch tablet and this high definition gaming tablet with a controller and everything, that, basically the Switch is like the new, NVIDIA Shield tablet. And now that they've actually partnered up with, so like NVIDIA had the Switch before the Switch was the Switch, and then they're building something new. So whatever this new Switch is going to be is what NVIDIA was going to put out after the Shield. So it's like going to be the new NVIDIA Shield. So it's going to be like the Nintendo Shield, Shield tablet.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's, as Charlie was saying, if they're going to upgrade everything and make everything better, obviously it's going to be a new console. But is it going to be one of those where, like with like modding and hacking, like older like Xboxes and like PlayStations, is it going to be where it's like this serial number was like this, gen, you could do all the stuff to it, and now once you get like this gen, you can't like soft like hack it, or you can't mod, or you can't do anything like that. So is that what Nintendo's going to do? Are they going to do, like it's just going to be like another like expansion to the original where you just can't do anything with it then? Or is it going to be like an actual new line of Switches with its own name and its own like series and stuff like that? I would assume since they're replacing everything, they're actually going to give it a new name, and the price of all the Switches that we all have now is going to go down, or they're just going to stop making them altogether, because apparently the Switch Lite has, it's gained popularity. At least not with streamers, at least, because we can't dock those. But with that case, is the price of the Switch Lite's going to go down, like, at all any? Because now both the Switch and the Switch Lites are outdated, and they're going to be even more outdated by the time, this Switch does come around. So it's like, I'm kind of wondering, like, on how, like, the price is everything. And then once they do upgrade all this stuff, what's the price for this new Switch? I'm just gonna call it the new Switch. What's that gonna be? How much more is it gonna cost compared to the Switch was when it first came out? Is it gonna be worth the money investment? Is there gonna be something in this that's gonna be worth me going out and buying a new Switch instead of just keeping the one that I have?
Yeah. No, exactly. Like, it all comes down to, is it gonna be a significant upgrade that if I change it, I'm gonna use everything, right? That's what we come down to. Like Corey said, I mean, a new console would be a lot better idea than to just go here. It's a Switch Pro, but it'll still play all the old games, right? But I don't know. I mean, Nintendo's been super quiet. They're always so quiet. They're always so quiet. Maybe they're just waiting for the heat of all this new console to kind of cool down, and then they'll announce whatever they're planning. But I don't know. I wish I knew. I'm excited. I am excited. If it's a Switch Pro, I mean, I'm down for it. I don't know if I'll grab it right away. If it's a new Switch, a new console, that'll hurt my wallet. I don't know if I can grab it. And depending on how much it's gonna cost. Depending everything. But I guess that's the name of the game right now, especially with COVID or whatever, with all this craziness happening. I mean, we're all looking for something to do, right? Especially when you're stuck at home all day, so that doesn't help the situation any. Oh well. All right, some games have been appearing online. So this is for the new consoles. A lot of people, I know myself, I've been looking at games, and they have gone up in price, going up to $70 or $90 in Canadian, when normally they were $60 or $80 in Canadian. What do you think is going on? And do you think this is going to be the norm now with the new generation? And is it like this because of the demanding work that has to go into the newer graphics? What are your thoughts? So let's start with Ryan.
Well, I know I've discussed it with people before, but it only makes sense that the price has got to go up somewhere sometime. It's unfortunate, but it has to happen as people are demanding and wanting and expecting these higher quality, higher graphic games. It takes more work. You gotta, unfortunately, get what you pay for. If we're gonna keep paying the same price, we can't really expect anything to get better. It's gonna stay the same. So if it goes up to, I don't know, $70 or so instead of the 60, that should be okay. A point Stephie has actually made before that I really thought of is if that $10 is going to be the make or break point for you, maybe it's not a good choice to be buying a game right now at that point. Maybe you have other priorities you should be focused on.
Yeah.
I totally, however, think we got to get it somewhere. People were saying this with Final Fantasy VII Remake when that came out, because the game was enormous, and they were like, well, why is it so huge? Why is it so huge? Well, it's got to come somewhere. Of course, it's going to be this great game. It's going to be a huge game that you all want. It's going to be huge. It's got to come from somewhere, basically. That's the biggest thing. I'm sorry that... and no one wants prices to go up. Everyone likes things to be about the same price, but... oh well. We gotta get some.
Corey, what are your thoughts?
Well, we had a big discussion last month on this exact topic, right?
Yeah.
And I still stand that honestly, it's exactly what what Ryan was saying is, if the $10 is a make or break, then you probably, I'm not here to judge anybody on that. That's not what I'm saying. But realistically, if a $10 change is a make or break, you probably have to prioritize something else, and that's okay. I don't care what anybody spends their money on. It's none of my business. I don't care. But like I said last time, on average, I am a firm believer that the $10 change is not going to break us as gamers as a whole, right? Like, it's not going to be like what's going to make us go, we're not buying games anymore because now they're $10 more. Mm-hmm. It's going to make people think a little bit more about their game decisions. They might go, okay, well, where maybe I would have bought 2 different games in the same month or something, if they're both AAA games that are raised to that price, maybe they're going to just make a decision and only buy one right now, wait a little bit longer. Maybe they won't. I probably won't. I'm just going to be honest. But the thing is, when you think about these games, and I won't even get into inflation because somebody's going to get into it, and that's fine. I won't even go there. What I will say is, I'll take a game like GTA 5. It's a little bit old at this point. Whatever. That game had a budget that was bigger than like a lot of movies, like a lot of big movie titles. It made a ton of money. That's not the point. But they had that budget for that game was ginormous, because games today on average are bigger, and I don't mean like size, like as far as how much storage space they take up, but like they're bigger on average. Yo, we're getting raided by Kazoo.
We're getting raided.
Welcome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Welcome, Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders.
But games on average, not every game and not like necessarily indies and this and that or whatever, but games on average are bigger and more expansive than ever before. Even if you don't count the graphics, right? They're just like, there's more to do and there's more that goes into making those games. So as stated by Ryan and as stated multiple times in the past, if the game, the price has to come up from somewhere. And if we're seeing a $10 price point raise, whatever. But I'm not saying whatever, because some people it's going to make a difference. But now on the other side of the same coin, there are people plenty upset because you're getting AAA prices that are going to go up as the standard. But you're also going to still have the same microtransactions in a lot of games and stuff like that, which is where people wanted to place the blame of microtransactions as making up for the cost not going up in the past. and so you've got them upset now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. No, I don't think that. I mean, I wasn't saying, and I don't know if anybody else here was saying that like people don't understand. But I am just trying to rationalize and just like it does suck. Absolutely, I don't want to pay $10 more for games. I want to pay as little as I can for games. I scour the eShop for like dollar games at times, and I use my gold points so that I don't have to pay anything for them.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to. New member.
Hey, new member. Thank you, Teddy. Super appreciate that, buddy. Welcome.
Yeah, nobody wants to pay more, but like as a whole, gamers are going to pay more. And it's not going to break the community of gamers, I guess, is what there was almost an argument that broke out last time about that. Anyways.
Thank you, Teddy. Super appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Guys,
yeah,
everyone hashtag Teddy in the chat. Show him some love. Welcome to the Taco Supreme Meal with it, people.
Meal with it.
Corey just got me curious, so I had to look up how much GTA 5's budget was. 5 million.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's just one single example. It's one single example, one drop in the bucket of all the games, right? Like in general. But games do cost more than ever to make. And legitimately, we haven't had a like standard price hike in 20 years.
Yeah.
Not saying I want that. I'm just saying, like, I understand why it's happening, and I think that it's I don't know. And that's AAA games, and that's not every single AAA game even right away anyway. Some developers have said that they're not going to be raising their prices right away. So you still got time.
Even with the way it is now, I was thinking about it, at the $60 price point, we still have people who go out there and wait till the price drops anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
the people
exactly.
who are going to buy it day one are still going to buy it day one, be it $60 or $70.
Yeah. I will probably in most cases.
Yeah, me too.
Because for certain games, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Chadley, what are your thoughts on this price hike?
And well, the other thing to remember though, with talking about buying it when the price drops, the development company doesn't care because they've already gotten their money.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why the price is dropping is because it's not selling anymore. And the companies are just trying to move copy. I mean, they're just trying to move the supply so they can make more room for whatever else is coming out. So a lot of times the company, the publisher has already made their money, and that was at full price. So the people that are losing money are actually the retailers who are selling it. So that's just something to keep in mind, I guess, when you buy. It's not going to change my mind on buying it cheaper, obviously, but it's not like Activision is losing out. So but yeah, like the whole thing with budgeting and stuff, because like when we were talking about raise the price of games and stuff, and I was just as curious as you, Ryan, so I started looking up stuff, and I'm like, you were saying about which game was it? Grand Theft Auto?
Yep, GTA 5.
Yeah. So a lot of websites I saw were only talking about like the development cost, and they didn't include the amount of money for marketing the game too. And a lot of times the marketing of the game is actually more of the budget than the actual development of the game. So like another one that's a good example is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Development cost was 50 million. Marketing of the game was 200 million. So you're talking like 4 times the budget, like 4 times just for marketing. So that brings it to a total of like $250 million for a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will bark at saying, why do you want to raise the price of a Call of Duty game? Because you know it's going to happen. People are not going to be happy about it because they're going to say it's a Call of Duty game. It's a first-person shooter. Why should I have to pay more for a game that's basically the same, just looks better? You know, not realizing that it is a new game. They probably made enhancements to their engine. They probably put a lot of development time into it, and they got to pay all that extra marketing cost for the new game. So, but again, the normal consumer is not going to care how much Activision had to pay to get the game to the consumer. You know,
Yeah.
consumers just going to care about, I don't want to have to pay $100 for a game, but sometimes you might have to, just because for Activision to actually make money, because their budgets are so big, you guys already said it, it's got to come from somewhere. Like,
No, for sure.
it's just an unfortunate thing. And you look at movie budgets as well. Some movies are the same way. Like, some of the really big movies have large budgets. Just imagine what kind of hit they're taking right now because of not being able to get the ticket sales. And they're relying on people paying for the movies on digital as like a one-time rental, as if you were going to the
$30
theaters.
for Mulan.
Exactly. Still cheaper for most families to watch it that way than going to a theater, because you're paying $30. And like for me, for instance, I got 7 people. If I take all 7 people to the movies, I'm basically paying for a bill that I could be paying. That money could go towards a bill, basically. And it's like, yeah, it's over $100 just to take my kids and my wife to the theater. Like, it's just a thing that happens, and that's not including snacks. That's just tickets.
Yeah.
So like, I don't go to the movies very often. We're very, very selective of what movies we go to see at the theaters, because it's like, if it's something that's not like, if the whole family is not super hyped to go see it, we just wait and then pay the whatever it is, like the $6 or $7, like just to rent it on digital or something. And even now, if I do the $30, I'm still saving a ton of money if I were to watch something that is only available like day one in digital, just to watch it one time. I still haven't done that because I can just wait a few months and pay a fraction of that cost. But again, it's like, it's the same thing. Like, everybody's taking a hit because of everything that's going on, and that's including like even development companies and publishers. And not that this is causing the price to go up, but it doesn't help the cause of it staying the same.
No, exactly. Mama Remy, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here for a second. Go to McDonald's. There's not really a dollar menu anymore. It's all like $2 or $3.
Yep.
You know? And then, you know, so you'd be like, man, I can go to McDonald's, I can get a couple things off the dollar menu. Well, there's no dollar menu anymore. It's like $2, it's $3. And then you go to like, then like $5 became the standard, you know, because you go to like KFC and it's like the, you know, the $5 fill-ups, and then like all these other companies are having like these $5 things, and then like Wendy's has got like the 4 for $4 and things like that. So it's like, when did all these, you know, when did the $5 become the new $1? You know, like the dollar menu. So it's like basically the $5 menu now is the new $1 menu. And you know, so if they've done it with food, they're obviously going to do it with games. But what people don't realize is that, yeah, it sucks, because like, I'm a mom, I have a budget that I have to keep. That $10 could make or break me, not because I have a bill to pay, but because it's like, okay, well, this game is going to cost a little bit more, which means that, you know, maybe I don't need to get this, you know, this more expensive shirt, you know, for this or whatever, so I just won't get it, so I'll just get a game. Well, you know, then, you know, so you have to make different types of, you know, choices when you do buy these games, but then after a while, you're not going to make those type of same choices because it's going to become the standard. But also, what people don't realize is that these games are bigger. These games have more graphics. These games have bigger, you know, plot lines. They have bigger stories. They have bigger character development, and they have to, you know, come like to like a cliffhanger, and then, you know, like, you have to keep going with those games. So you're paying for graphics, you're paying for equipment, you're paying for those people's time and energy, you're paying for someone's, you know, basically salary, you know, you're paying for game testers to come in and test all these new things, you know, like these new mechanics, so you can fly, you can jump, you can, you know, and they go in and they do the same thing for like 14 hours a day. Like, they have to jump at this one spot, do this one spin move, and point their gun down to try to jump over this one wall because it's a bug testing. So then you have to pay all those people that, and then you have to do like what Charlie was talking about with like the marketing, and then so you got like the commercials for TV, you got the commercials for PC, you got the commercials for just wherever, like all the ads and all the like the printables and things like that, and all like the little leaflets that go in like your GameStop things and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things you have to pay for. So if $10, even though it's gonna be a little struggle for me, now until it becomes the new standard, because the $1 became the $5, now the $5 is the new $1, until it becomes more the standard for all of us, it's putting money in people's pockets and then keeping everyone paying bills and stuff like that. So whereas it sucks because there's a pay increase, I also know that it's justifiable, and $10 from every game is gonna help pay for more people. I don't know, I'm done playing devil's advocate.
It's true though.
It's like I can see everything. It really sucks, but I hate to say it, but I remember the dollar menu being the dollar menu, and it's now the $5. So it's like we're not going to realize the $10 increase in a few years.
It's true though. It's true. I mean, excuse me. I don't know. Like what so it's gonna be $60 now. Oh wait, $70, right, for you guys? So $69.99, that's $93 Canadian. I mean, we're already paying $80. That's what we pay, $80. Then you add the tax, it's like right on the dot, $90. Now we're gonna be paying $89.99, and it comes up to about $120 with taxes in. That hurts. Yeah. I'd rather see the number 75 than see 120. I mean, yep. It sucks, but it is what it is, and it's some games like Demon's Souls for the PS5 is gonna be $89.99, but Spider-Man is gonna be the cheaper, 79. Yeah, the 79. Right, so it's like it's a hit or miss type situation going on, which sucks. I mean, it really does suck, but it's like Mama Remy, what we said. Unfortunately, these games are bigger. These games are asking more, and there's more graphics going on, so it was only a matter of time. And like Stephie said just now, the fact that it stayed at $60 is a very long time, so it's been a while, so GG on that. Yep. Okay, so now we're gonna get into a little bit more technical situations here. A lot of people have been wondering about this. The Xbox just recently finally showed off their expandable storage with Seagate, and it came up to be about $300 Canadian, $220 American. And people are complaining that is super expensive for an expandable, especially because Sony's using Samsung's NVMe, which is basically another storage, but it's kind of become the standard now in PCs. And those storage in Canadian turn out to be about $230, and in American it's like, I don't even know, what is that in American, like 100 and like a dollar?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if it's 200 Canadian, it's like a handful of shekels in American.
So what are your thoughts on these new storage?
$149, by the way.
140. So 149.
Oh, I thought you meant $1.49.
So it's $149 American. So it's a very big price difference. What are your thoughts on the storage units? And do you think, like, Sony did this with the Vita? They had, was it Vita or was it the PSP?
It was Vita.
It was a Vita, yeah. So they had their own storage unit for the Vita, and I mean that didn't really go really well. And now Xbox is doing it. So what are your thoughts? Maybe? Yeah, I don't know, one of the two. So what do you think of this? What are your thoughts of this? And yeah, do you believe that the price for storage is worth it? So let's start with Ryan.
Well, I know for me personally, who's not at all an Xbox person, has no interest in any of these hundreds of different named Xboxes they're coming out with. it's not worth it to me. But I'm not an Xbox guy. I do, however, think that since the days of the PSP or the Vita, whichever one we decided it was on, the technology has probably improved since then. It's probably going to work out a lot better than it did for them. But at the same time, I can't really speak on this point because, again, no interest in Xbox whatsoever. Sorry.
What do you think, Corey?
Kind of, in that same boat with no interest in the Xbox, but technical stuff, it really makes me excited. So, yeah. So the thing is, the expansion for the Xbox. So one thing that we always have to remember, just playing a little bit of devil's advocate here. One thing you have to remember with new storage medium, because let's be real, this is a new storage medium design. It's not a brand new storage medium, but it is a new technology with the faster speeds and everything. Mm-hmm. They always start off higher. SSDs, NVMEs, all of them start out really high. But still, it feels like they chose a medium that is not, a good medium in this case. It's not a good price efficient medium if that's the case. However, it's hard to compare with what Sony's doing, because Sony's going to allow you to buy cheaper drives, NVMe drives, but those drives do have to be, while they're not proprietary, they do have to be specific approved ones that are made and designed for this type of use. So they will not be like a proprietary PlayStation NVMe drive. They will, however, be like Samsung's, whatever Evo 1275 million, version number that has a PS logo on it or something, though, to say that it's approved, not necessarily branded, but approved. And so those are going to be more expensive than you would buy the equivalent non-approved ones for, because they aren't rated for as a high, utilization and everything. But they're not going to be really as expensive as that $220 USD for the expansion card that Xbox is selling. So yeah. One thing is, though, just as a total, like, it's related to this, but kind of a side note also, for everybody who doesn't know, maybe, you do not feel the need to rush out and buy an expansion drive for PlayStation or for Xbox, because you will be able to plug in an external and at least store your games, your like next gen games, on an external hard drive, but you have to move it over to the internal in order to play it. Mm-hmm. Like if it's like a next gen game, but that still will save you a bunch of money on not having to buy one of these expansion drives that they want to gouge you for, when you can go buy an external. I've got a 256 external SSD that I use for my PlayStation just for a couple of games, and I paid like $100 or something like that for it. Yeah. So you can definitely get better values than doing that.
No,
just as a side tangent for that.
No, and it makes sense. Like, I know that the thing that people are really, they're still wondering today, because they told us it was what, like 820 gigs or something like that for the PlayStation.
It's something. Yeah, it's something.
It's like
strange.
A weird number. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing people are saying was, did they give us the exact number of after the OS, or did they give us the number before the OS? Because that's a weird number to throw at us.
It's 825.
Like, see, that's so weird.
You don't even buy a drive in that. But the thing, yeah, I think these ones that are coming in the PlayStations I think those are like custom built ones, though. Yeah. I think you can replace them with not custom built ones, but these I think are custom, and I think that is going to answer for some of the oddness for the number, but it's still really weird. As a computer guy, as a person who builds computers and loves, buys drives and all this crap, like my OCD is like, what?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how I feel. Chadley, what are your thoughts on all the storage business?
I mean, well, like you said, it has this isn't a new thing. I mean, Xbox decided to go with a custom design route. Sony decided to go with a more common design route so that people have a little bit more freedom of choice, I guess. I mean, one thing to remember is that the Series X is going to support other types of external drives as well. It's not like you're stuck with paying just for this type of external drive. It's going to have the high-speed USB on the back of the device as well, which will allow you to hook up a high-speed USB external hard drive. It's probably not going to be as fast for transfer rate, but if it's just meant for external storage, I mean, the games are still gonna load, save data, or whatever, because
you have to actually store them on the internal drive to play them, though.
Okay. That's what I was about to say. I was like, one of those systems I thought I remembered hearing. Okay, both of them are going to require, like, so if you download a game to the external storage, but to play it, you have to make sure you have enough space on the internal drive to even play it. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a backup solution in my mind. Because it's like with the Wii U, you can have a USB hard drive hooked up and it'll run the game right off of that external hard drive, no problem. Obviously I'm not, it's a different it's like apples to oranges type of thing. You're comparing two different types of things because these games on the PlayStation, the games on the Xbox are massive. So it's like, it's understandable that they want the games to be running on a hard drive that is has the fastest transfer rate, so that you don't have those loading screens if they can help it. We're beyond the age of loading screens and nobody really likes them anymore. Regardless of how quickly those loading screens show and go away, people still don't like seeing them. They want the game to be like that, like right away. Even though on PCs we still have loading screens on PC games, even if they are digital downloads. So but I mean, again, like Ryan said, I'm not getting the console, so I could care less. But the price is a little hefty for a 1 terabyte drive when you compare that to this similar technology that's out there for PC, and you can get larger drives for the same amount of money, you know? And NVMEs are coming down in price as well, so it's kind of weird that Xbox didn't decide to just go the NVMe route. Is the internal drive NVMe? Do we know?
Probably. I don't know, but I would imagine it probably is.
I think it might be.
Yeah. Okay. But even that, like, you can get external this is an NVMe case that has an NVMe drive in it. This used to be in my old work laptop, and then I upgraded to a larger NVMe. But like it has the USB-C on it, so like it's fast transfer rate. Like stuff like this is like, you could buy an NVMe drive and then hook it into your Xbox Series X, and it would probably be more than what the normal person would need. They don't need to spend the huge amounts of money just for this custom little double-sized USB thumb drive. That's what it reminds me of, because the thing looks like it's so small compared to what other hard drives we've seen. But yeah, it just looks like a really big USB stick.
Yeah, no, exactly. Apparently, so it is using that little chip thing. It's the same size internally too. So it's not a NVMe the way we're known. Theirs is a custom.
Okay.
It is gonna be that square thing. So you can't even remove it too.
Okay, so this is basically like an external solution.
Yeah,
It's exactly the same thing. It's just that you're able to plug it in as opposed to it being stuck in the machine. So,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. It looks like it only has one slot, so I mean, it kind of sucks too.
Yeah, that is what I saw too.
Yeah.
Mama Remy, what are your thoughts on the crazy storage situation?
Okay, so story time with Remy. My PC was I got it fixed, acting up. Like, we couldn't figure out what it was. We thought there for the longest time it was my VRAM. Like, I didn't have enough VRAM, which I actually really don't have enough VRAM. I need more VRAM, but I'm gonna fix that soon. So we thought maybe it was like my graphics card. Maybe the fan had gone out, because my fan has gone out on my graphics card, a couple times. And we thought then maybe it was the memory, or if it was drivers, or maybe it was like the operating system. Like, we did everything. Like, we tested everything we could think about. And I'm talking like an IT professional here, like testing everything. Everything was coming back healthy. Everything was coming back, like 100% excellent, and we're like, what the crap? So finally, we tested my SSD. It was 120 gigs, and it was only supposed to have my OS on it and a couple of programs that I needed to run like instantly for streams. Well, come to find out, it was at like 48% health, because I had written 211 terabytes on it for its lifespan. So it was like crashing, and like it was like so slow. It was bogging everything. Like, Photoshop was taking me 10 minutes. When I would click on something to move a layer, it would take 10 minutes to move that layer. So it was taking forever. The loading screens on all my games were taking, like 10-20 minutes to like load in. And I'm like, okay, this is a simple game. It should maybe take like a minute to load in. So like, why? So the fact that I had written so much on this little tiny SSD that, was only supposed to like, we'll just not get into that. So the fact that these games use the same information over and over and over and over and over again, like my PC does, and the fact that these are so big and they cost, a lot, is the fact that it's like, okay, fine. It's gonna be this much money because it's bigger, and these games are gonna be writing the same stuff over and over and over again. Plus, you're using up all the space on it, and the SSD, it writes all the technical stuff. You guys all know that. It writes all the time, and it rewrites over and over and over and over and over again. So you're gonna be using all of that. So the health is gonna go down, like it did on my PC. And I'm trying to be technical here and act like I know what I'm talking about. But I know a little bit what I'm talking about because I just went through it. So the fact that these SSDs are coming out and they're at this price point, there better be a freaking warranty on it. That was my whole point. Because, you're playing these huge, massive games, and it's taking the same, information and rewriting it and loading it, rewriting it and loading it, rewriting it and loading it when you're doing all your save stuff. If it crashes or loses its health, then there goes all the stuff that you have on there. And so if you're putting all of your game, like all your main game storage on, the internal, drives, and then you're writing all your save stuff to the SSD, for quicker loading times, or even if you're just putting everything on the external, what's going to happen when that crashes and you lose everything? There better be a warranty on it. That's all I'm going to say.
And you make a good point. I had never thought of that. I haven't thought of that. If you look at something like Xbox and PlayStation, nobody knows as of right now if PlayStation's is custom where it's attached and you can't remove it. We know there's a slot for the M.2, but we don't know if the original one can be removed. Same thing, Xbox, we know you can't remove the original one. So if the original one dies, that's your Xbox. What now?
So just a thought. When you put high quality SSDs in a machine, they have millions upon millions of writes that they're guaranteed for.
Exactly.
And so it's, I would say it's definitely a concern, but like not a concern that you should be like scared of. I mean, I'm just being honest here. I have an external SSD that I have Destiny 2 for my PlayStation, and that thing updates every single week, and I play it every day. what happened to yours is probably a freak accident, just to be fair. Because like I said, they are rated.
I have had this PC for 4 years, so
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're rated for several, like for many years and millions upon millions of writes over those years. But not every SSD is created or guaranteed equally either. When they're creating these custom units for this stuff or approving these certain units for this stuff, I don't know what they're actually rated for, but I'm gonna assume that they're gonna be rated very, very highly for many, many, many writes. We don't have to that. It's not a true concern for the expected lifespan of the console. I'm not saying the true lifespan, because we know that can be much longer than the expected lifespan of the console.
Mhm.
But I'm just saying, from my point of view, I don't think it's I don't think it's something that we have to be scared of. I think it's good to be conscious of it, absolutely, because SSDs, unlike regular traditional hard disk drives, SSDs have a lifespan, or a much shorter lifespan, have a finite lifespan. Most of the time we don't have to see that lifespan end. It's far out, but it is there. So it's something to definitely be conscious of, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I could be totally wrong, and these things could flop a year in or something, and that would be horrible. But I don't think, I don't expect it to be. Crossing my fingers.
So
I don't expect it to be that kind of a problem.
I can't speak for again, going back to what are they called, Xbox, because they're using something completely different. But if we go using, what are they called, Samsung and M.2s, the little chip things, for those who don't know, my first SSD was a Corsair. This is when they first got released, kind of, and it was 120 gig. It lasted 3 months and then it died. Okay. Now, my second SSD is a Samsung SSD. I've had that one for 8 years. And that's the one I'm using right now on the big computer. It's the same one. And it hasn't broken. So I'm not really concerned with what PlayStation is using. I'm not really concerned with what Microsoft is using, because, like it or not, SSD has been around for a long time, and they're always finding ways to do it. But when they do die, and it could be unexpectedly, like my brother's, he bought it brand new, a week later it died. It's just luck of the draw, I guess, right? But it sucks. And in this case, when it's the console, what happens then, right? That's probably all that happens. What happens? But again, with all the latest technology, I think we'll be fine. I think, maybe, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I
think overall.
Yeah, even the cheapest SSDs, I'm using a $100 SSD that I bought for my laptop. All I use it for is storage. It's a terabyte, cost me $120. It's by Intel, and it's working. It does the job. And if that's the case, cool. I usually like to spend more if it's gonna be the main drive, like the OS. I'll cough up the money. But if it's only gonna do my games and stuff, I'll do the cheapest one, make it run. That's how I've always done it. I don't know about you guys. All right, guys, that is basically it for today. A lot of information's come out, and our next one in October. I don't know what's gonna happen in October. Everything that we've been waiting for has already been said. It's September. Everything's come out, unless Nintendo surprises us big time next month and says, guys, we're releasing the Switch too.
But what are you talking about? Animal Crossing is releasing the Halloween update in a few days. I'm so excited.
And people are very excited about that. I've been seeing that everywhere. I'm excited too. I heard Halloween's cool on Animal Crossing. But other than that, I think we've covered most of the things that a lot of people wanted to know, from the cost, the craziness of the pre-orders, and all the rumors of the new Switch and stuff. So it's been good. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us on your busyness. I super appreciate
Always
that.
happy to be here.
Mama Remy, thank you as well. I super appreciate it. And Corey, thank you.
Yes.
And Chadley, thank you as well, man. I know that you're always busy on the weekends, and I really appreciate it.
Glad to be here as always.
All right, we got to see who's streaming so we can give them a raid. We gotta find someone. I always like raiding when it's our podcast, like especially the little guys, and they're like, "Oh my god!" I don't really have anyone on. Man, it's so hard to find people who are streaming on here. Keith, I haven't done him in forever. He has 4 watching him. Who else is on? He has 10. Maybe we'll do him. He has 4 watching him.
I always like doing that.
Kathy, I think his name is.
Katathi, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's him or I was gonna suggest Derek64 too.
Is Derek on?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing Mario 64. He's got 5 viewers.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go for him.
Let's go for Derek. Because they're watching. The other one was playing Fire Emblem, and I know for a fact that's not really.
Fire Emblem's not a real game.
I don't know, man. You can say what you want because some people think Canada doesn't exist. I'm still not convinced.
I know Canada doesn't exist. It's like Australia.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and raid Derek. Let me pull him up so we can give him a nice raid.
You guys might remember him from his streams, but also from when he was on the TacoCast.
You might remember him from such streams as I'm playing Mario.
From such streams as his own and his current stream right now.
Can't just hit /raid.
I know.
I'm like slowly doing this. We're gonna use #TacoTeam raid, guys. That's what we use here. Let's go ahead. Oh no, wait. TacoCast raid. That's what we're gonna use.
Yeah.
Let's use TacoCast raid. That's what we're gonna use.
Oh well, thank you, Dylan, for that GG. Probably could've done it
I mean, we've just kind of proven the whole Canada isn't real thing because he has YouTube in light mode.
Wow.
That's the way I use YouTube on the PC. All right, let's go ahead and do it, guys. Let's go on a raid. Let's go go.
YouTube has a light mode.
Right?
Can't wait for dark mode to become standard.
It's not.
You know, funny thing is
My world is a lie.
on Twitch,
It
I
is.
use dark mode, but on like everywhere
This
else
one's
is
as
dark
easy
mode.
as it gets,
But
I
YouTube
think.
is my only one that I don't use dark mode.
But it's weird because the live streaming tools that YouTube gives us is defaulted in dark mode,
Right?
but
Yeah.
but the website isn't. So it's kind of weird because I think they're still stuck in the whole thing with
Casey, God dang it, little
YouTube
girl.
gaming because YouTube gaming was dark mode sort of,
Yeah.
and they kind of like brought that over, I guess. But yeah.
Okay. Double cheeseburger or junior chicken burger?
Double cheeseburger. Actually, I don't know. That's not as cut and dry as I thought. Do both. Why not both?
As he
I
knows.
had a-
Dose.
I had a burger this morning.
Inu Yugi.
So
Hold on, let me
I
get
would
that real
definitely go
quick.
for chicken. Yeah.
Holy
think-
smokes.
I don't think he's noticed. Wait, is he noticing?
TacoCast
There we
raid.
go.
How's
He
it
noticed.
going, everybody? Wow, it's been a while. Hold on, let me see here. Hey, Casey, say TacoCast raid.
Oh,
Hold
cute.
on, let me see everybody. You guys just came in right as I looked away. Let's see here. We got Stephie the Unicorn, Jinto, Key Cruz, Chadley. How's it going, Chadley? CC Gaming. How's it going? Spanishdude, my man. Rhinoceros.
I always love your name forever. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining. I super appreciate that. And I will see you guys for another stream on Monday over on Twitch. Please also go give a sub and a follow to these beautiful people. Links are in the description below. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Are we off?
Mm-hmm.
Can we start talking shit about each other now?